Hey everybody, welcome back to day 3. I hope that I always used to laugh in the training world that by the time that we got to day 3, everybody was always a little bit just like, "Oh my goodness, this is a lot of stuff. This is a lot of stuff." So welcome back. Welcome back. Say hello if you're here. That way I know if my comments are working. Because as you guys know, the first day I was a little panicked because my comments weren't working. So say hello if you're here. Welcome. So we're going to celebrate with some wins because this is so cool. I've gotten some really amazing wins in the last couple of days. And so I would love for you guys to drop any of the wins that you're having in the chat or just say, hey, and maybe your win is just that like you're feeling pretty good. Like maybe you just feel like you have a framework for something that you know that you need to advocate for. Ashley, you're cold. I know, right? Oh my goodness. Hey, Andrea. Hey, Brandy. It's good to see you all. Okay, good. I know my comments are working again. We're 2 for 2. It's so good. Awesome. And you're working from home. Ooh, and I got a UPS delivery. I think it's my pants. You guys, it's a good thing this is coming on a day that my husband actually went to the office. And Ashley's husband and my husband work together. So don't say, but, and now my dog's very mad, but I got some pants that I ordered. So anyways. All right, we're going to get him to stop barking just a second. Hey, come here. There's people on the internet that you're being loud. Oh, this is Harley. All right, so let's celebrate some wins. I want you to tell me in the chat, what wins have you had? It could be a feeling. It could be an actual thing. And I promise Harley will get happy for you here in a second. So I want to share a win that I got via email this morning. And this gal who was in my fall session of my Clarity and Confidence Leadership Masterclass emailed me this morning and said that she actually negotiated and found out that she got a raise. So she was super excited about that. So this always happens when I'm like, Harley, he's so angry. He's so angry. So that was awesome. She felt like just super confident about just that going in and overcoming her vulnerability and asking for that raise. The second win actually came from someone here in the group yesterday. And one of the things that she said, I'm so sorry. Harley, hey, come here. Come on. There's all these people who are trying to listen. How many of you are trying to work with dogs right now and mailmen? It's just crazy. And he's so mad. So the second one came from somebody who was in the class yesterday. And do you remember the point in the class when we were talking about advocacy and what happens if you kind of feel like, well, what if I like over advocate and, you know, what if I advocate and maybe I push a little too hard and I realized it was too much. And we just talked about how it's really important just to work on getting it right instead of being right. And so she forwarded me this really beautiful email today about how she reached out to the person that she felt like maybe she kind of overstepped a little bit and just said, hey, sorry, this isn't, you know, what I meant. And she got this wonderful email back from, I believe it was her leader. But basically, and I'll read it to you, it was amazing. She said, having self-reflection is a trait that good leaders possess. You took feedback, you internalized it, reflected, and you stated what you learned. This is spectacular. She was told she was spectacular because she like realized that sometimes we don't always get it right. A lot of people will not do what you did. And if they do, they don't send a heartfelt email or communication about it. She's like, don't think for a moment I didn't see your authenticity in your communication. Oh, that is just amazing. And it just goes to show you we don't always have to like get it right when we advocate, right? We just have to work on, you know, getting it right and getting those relationships right. And you know what? We're never going to be perfect. There's going to be times where we're like, oh, it didn't go as planned, you know, and so we just reach out and we build the bridge. So the last win I want to share, and again, oh, thank you for the compliment of my blue, Helen. I appreciate that. And yes, yay for new pants. So tell me in the chat, anything that's coming from this for you that just feels good, whether it's a feeling, whether it's just an aha moment, I'd love to hear. Because the final win was another person reached out to me from yesterday and she said, you know, I have to tell you, that I did something this morning and I'm having like she's like, I'm having post-traumatic sweats from it. And she goes, we were in a meeting and we were talking about a program at work. And somebody said something in the meeting that just wasn't an accurate representation of what the program is or the people that were a part of it. And she goes, I just felt my body like that. Do you guys ever get that where you just have like this sensation that arises from like your gut up and you feel like you need to say something? She's like, I totally had that. She's like, so I said something. I just advocated for my truth. I felt like I had to say something and I would have felt bad had I not said something. And so she, messaged me afterwards. She goes, oh my gosh. And now I'm questioning everything I said. Does that happen to you guys? And so we talked about how sometimes you can have like post-reflective trauma, about how when you do speak up, it can feel new for you. And so your brain is like, oh my gosh, what the heck? What do I do? What are people going to think? But like your body just feels really good. And so we kind of reframed, and this is what we're going to talk about today, reframed this thought that says it's wrong for me to get emotional. And so we defined emotional, and we found out, in fact, she was not being emotional. And we reframed that to a more freeing thought that said, a leader always speaks their truth. And so I just wanted to share these with you because I think they're just so powerful that, it does take a lot of courage to be vulnerable. It takes a lot of courage to speak up. And we're always going to wonder if we're doing the right thing. And one of the things that her and I talked about was only a sociopath or a narcissist would never wonder if they said something wrong. Remember that. And so there's always a part of our collective humanity that if we're human and if we have empathy, that's going to wonder, did I say the right thing? Did that come across okay? And so it's always about finding that middle ground of just saying, let's have a lot of compassion and celebrate the fact that I spoke up. And let's talk about how that went and what I might do differently next time, if anything. Okay, so a couple comments. I had to stop putting my hand on my chest and holding it in. Yes, Danielle. Yes. I always put my hand on my heart to like give myself compassion that I can speak up, because holding it in, it'll not be helpful with your body. It's always scary if you don't know if you took something too far. Yeah, right? That can feel scary, and so you can always ask, how did you feel about that conversation that we had? So let's talk about confidence today, because you guys kind of got all into this yesterday. I want you to tell me in the comments. So we've talked about authenticity, right? Like what you know for sure about yourself. Yesterday, I had you share your advocacy values, which I've got my people in here. I'm going to draw in a second for the winner. Your 3 advocacy values. What is the thought that gets in the way of you advocating for what you want? So I have a hunch that all of you right here are thinking about something that you want. And you've talked about it a little bit. Some of you are like thinking about asking for raises or different positions, and you've mentioned it in the comments. Why can't you have that? Why can't you speak up? Why can't you articulate it? And you shared some of these reasons yesterday, and I want you to say them again in the chat. What's that mind junk that gets in the way? Because I don't know if you've noticed this, but like every time we're called to like stretch our comfort zone or ask for something that we want, speak up in the room, right? Our brains will always come in with reasons, stories, and excuses of why we shouldn't do this. So judgment, fear of being told no. So Helen, is being told no, is the story that you're telling that if they say no, it means they reject me? What are those reasons? Because I think that this can kind of point to some of the things that I talk about a lot in my 7-week class, which is confidence, expensive thinking, imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome, about 70% of people feel it, and it's clinically defined as primarily women and people of color. It doesn't usually happen with men because men can see themselves everywhere they go. But even though you have a lot of like a high degree, a lot of experience, all these sorts of things, you're still going to question whether or not you belong. You're still going to question, oh my gosh, I think that like all of my success this far has been a fluke. Or what if I get to the room and speak up and they discover once and for all that I am a fraud? They find out that I am not as smart as they think I am. Do you guys ever have this? Because I remember feeling it. Like I really got intimate with it that day that I didn't speak up in the conference room from the story I told you on Monday. Because I just felt like an imposter. There was all these thoughts in my head. Who am I? What if they think what I have to say is stupid? I don't have enough experience yet. All these sorts of things. I think my imposter syndrome really started to pick up though when I left an organization I was working with for a really long time and I went to go work for a tech company. And I oversaw HR at this tech company. The very first day I had lunch with my boss, as was customary in this company. Your boss takes you out to lunch. And I was so excited to get this job. And then when I got there, I was shaking so hard under the table at lunch. I thought like my knee was going to fly up and the silverware was going to fly everywhere. Because I think I was just so scared that like, okay, I got hired. And now that I'm here, what if they like see through all of this? What if they see that like they made the worst hiring decision ever and I'm not all that and I have no idea what I'm doing? So you guys are feeling me here, right? Yes, yes, yes. Okay, fear of being laid off. Over a year ago, my company let go of my co-manager and he made more than me. Took on way more responsibilities and I feel I deserve a raise. You don't feel it. Is it Alora? I want to make sure I say your name correctly. Yes, you deserve it. However, I fear that they will just let me go and move on to someone else. Okay, I want to work on that. Okay. So is the thought, Alora, that if you ask, they'll let you go? That if you ask for more money, they'll let you go? This is common. Okay, first, I want you to just, again, have a ton of like compassion for yourself just to know that this fear is common. Okay. All right. Yes. Terrified I'll make a mistake and then they'll know, right? They'll know. So I love what Michelle Obama says about imposter syndrome. This is just junky old imposter syndrome. And she says, she's talking to Oprah in this quote's in your workbook. I've been at probably every powerful table you can think of. She sat at the UN, at G summits of corporate boards, nonprofit boards. They are not that smart. Like how many of you, and I'm talking about imposter syndrome, but I want to propose a new concept to you that I've been talking about with some of my clients. I think sometimes we have this thing called pedestal syndrome, that we think that someone else that we don't know very well, maybe it's a person in power, maybe it's our new coworkers after we've been, put on a new project or moved to a new division or we're moving to a new company. We tend to put other people on a pedestal, overestimating their intelligence and underestimating our own. I think sometimes it's really easy to like put people up on this pedestal thinking that like everybody else kind of has it figured out and I'm still the one that doesn't have it figured out. And I'm here to tell you, I have coached everyone from the CEOs of organization. I've coached men, I've coached women, and I've had, especially men, I think people who we think have it all figured out that don't show a lot of vulnerability sit on the other side of my Zoom meetings and they have a C-level position, a C-level title. And they are just like, I don't know what to do. What do I do? I have no idea. All these people are going to think I'm just an idiot. They have the exact same fears. They just don't always let you see it. So I don't want you to think for a minute that you are alone in thinking some of these thoughts, and just start to notice when you have pedestal syndrome, when you're putting other people up on a pedestal and you're really underestimating and undervaluing your own contributions. Sheryl Sandberg actually talks about this in her book, Lean In, where a bunch of, I believe it was medical students, were asked to rate their performance. And women tended to underrate their performance. Men tended to overrate their performance. But the crazy thing about it is that when the people who were monitoring them actually did the reviews, the women outperformed the men. I saw this when I was in HR. Men, and even when I was coaching men and women, like I would have guys come to me and be like, this job looks cool, I'm going to go for it. There wasn't really a thought on if they were qualified. It was like, hey, this looks cool, I'm going to do it. Whereas women would come to me either as their coach or when I was the HR director, like, so there's this job and I only meet like 90% of the qualifications, and I'm just not quite sure. I think maybe I should take another class. I don't know. I mean, just the mindsets sometimes are so different. So I want you to watch that. Kyle says, I loved your imposter syndrome webinar. You did at my job. Thank you. My imposter syndrome webinar, I have to say, if you guys have a women's resource group at your work, my imposter syndrome webinar is one of my most popular, and I'd be happy to talk with any one of you about it. You guys can just send me an email, PM me, whatever. Okay, back on track. So how do we move beyond these expensive thoughts? Because I honestly believe a lot of these expensive thoughts are costly, not just to our paychecks, because they hold us back, right? They hold us back from asking for the things that we want, going for the job, asking for the raise, like Alora says, right? Like asking for something. They're costing Alora her paycheck. A lot of us are paychecks, right? They cost us in our potential because we don't ask for the seat at the table. We don't ask for the things. We don't speak up in the rooms, right? And they cost us in our peace. I work with so many women who, yes, we work on career things, but we also work on a lot of personal things. Like just yesterday, I had a call with a client who just wants her husband to help with a few more things around the house. And she just hasn't asked because of all just these junky thoughts that we have. And, you know, it's costing her just a lot of peace, even in her own marriage, and a lot of the little things, you know, that we want around the home. So I want you to get curious about just noticing what you're thinking about and how expensive are your thoughts. So, and how do we reframe these, right? So like when I was talking with my client this morning, you know, we reframed her, it was wrong for me to get emotional, to a good leader speaks their truth. How do you reframe some of these? I want to talk about this. I want you all to think about a result that you want, okay? And maybe pop it in the chat. Let's like get this going. I would love for everybody to like put out there, because this is going to be a little practice for your assignment tomorrow. I want you to start thinking about what's a result that you want. So I'm just going to read some of these. So Alora, one of the results you might be thinking about, it can be anything, might be, I'm going to not only suggest a women's leadership program, I am going to lead it. I'm going to make it happen. And it's going to be so successful. And it's going to make so many women just glow up here at work. Okay. I'm just throwing words in your mouth. I don't know what your goal is. Melinda, thank you for sharing that book. I've heard that that's a really, really good one, and I have not read it. So I'm glad you put that in front of me again. Some of you might be asking for a raise. Michelle, I see your comment. Yes, they put on their pants one leg at a time, just like me. So think about, type in the chat, what is something that you want? When you were in your 20s, you approached your boss about getting a significant raise. So this is in your workbook. I want you to really think about what are the results that you want, and not just the result that you want. I want you to just really imagine what that result is going to do for you. Just imagine what that result is going to do for you. So when I think about the results that I want, I'm thinking about even just this breakthrough week, right? The result that I want is like, I want over 200 women, which we did. I think we have 225 people in this challenge. I want over 200 women in this room really understanding how powerful they are. And I want them to know that they already have everything they need inside them to succeed. We just have to remove everything in the way of it. I want them to know they belong in the rooms where decisions are made. And because I want them to know that the results that we're going to get is they're going to go back and they're going to believe in themselves. They're going to do a lot of asking. They're going to get the things that they want. They're going to feel free, powerful. They're going to recognize that like sometimes our thoughts are really expensive, and to get rid of those, it's going to help them accomplish the things that they want to do. And we're going to create this ripple effect. Okay. So I'm thinking about all these results that I want, and they're all just things I want you to have at the end of the day, right? So I want you to really think about that. And then I had to think about, and I want you to think about, what actions do you need to take? If I want 200 women, over 200 women in this room, what actions do I need to take? Well, I need to get excited about this, right? Because when I'm excited, you guys get excited and you start sharing all your books and all your stuff, and it's so fun to watch. And I need to tell people about it. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but sometimes it's really just hard to tell people, to ask people, hey, I'm hosting a free leadership series. Hey, I hope you join me. Hey, tell other people about this, right? Sometimes just even that vulnerability of like telling people and being clear is really hard. Because then I start to think, right, like, oh my gosh, like my number one fear, and I've told this to some of you in the chat, is what if people think this is stupid? What if I speak up and people think my idea is stupid, right? So those are all those expensive thoughts that get in. But that's not what I want. So I have to tell people, right? So they know that it's happening and they invite people here. What's the energy and the feelings that I need to feel? Well, I need to feel excited, confident, encouraging, practical. Like you want to, guys, you want to come here and get practical stuff. You don't want to come here and get a bunch of woo-woo stuff that you can't do anything with, right? So if I want over 200 women in the room, kicking ass, making impact, I need to tell people about it and invite people in, and I need to feel confident, inspired, practical, all these things. What is a high value thought that I need to think? Well, I can tell you what, my old trashy, expensive thought of people will think this is stupid really isn't going to help me. A more high value thought I can think is, well, people might find this helpful. People might find this program smart. So that's my homework for you all is what is your high value thought? What's your confidence mantra? And I want to go back and read through some of these. So I want to feel equal to my peers. Yes. Yeah, you want to feel equal, empowered. Absolutely. Alora, your goal is to build confidence. I know I have the skills. I have to let them stand strong. Absolutely, girl. Absolutely. One of my jobs is at a local newspaper. I want them to be more profitable. Awesome. Awesome. And what will that do, right? So they can do what? Probably so they can create greater good, create more reach, more impact, to have more confidence to bring up anything I deserve and suggest ideas that will be heard. Rachel says, I also want to feel about the work the way my dog looks at me, right? Like Harley. Like when I had Harley, only Harley was pretty barky at the beginning of our call. It does make sense. Danielle, you want to create a larger network at Mercer MMC of women reaching their goals. Amen, sister. And you call me if you want help with that. I would love to. That's kind of like my next thing is I work with a lot of women individually, and I also know a lot of leaders and organizations who want to set up programs. And that's like, so I'm just telling you, right? Future results. Those are like more future results that I want. It's like, yes, I want to help women work on all these things interpersonally, and there's a big and. We also have to address the systemic issues that happen in organizations that also continue to create microaggressions, right? Like you can't just, there was a great article by Harvard Business Review, and I'll drop it in the comments that says, stop telling women they have imposter syndrome. And that's true. Like you can't just say, oh, well, your problem of why you won't advance is you have imposter syndrome. No, okay, there might be some feelings of doubt, and you also need to address the systemic issues that are happening in the organization that are preventing women from rising up, from serving, that are reinforcing a patriarchal culture, that are, doing all of these things. Okay, sorry, I got on my soapbox. If the newspaper can be successful, then I can be successful. Danielle, and for those of you who are thinking about starting a program, one of the best practices that I'm hearing from women that I'm talking with who have established these programs is to begin with addressing unconscious bias. Because one of the things that's happening in organizations is that people at the top aren't aware that there is even anything wrong, or that the way things are structured creates implicit bias against women, marginalized groups, people of color, all the things. So your homework is to create your high quality thought. Who wants to drop their high quality thought in the chat? So my high quality thoughts, whenever I have to do something new, is always, people will find this helpful. Because I promise you, like every single time I do something new, my old trashy, expensive thought of people will think this is stupid visits me all the time. It is my number one expensive thought. Stacie Bloom, she's a neuroscientist. She studies the link between confidence in the brain, and she's saying that repetition helps us boost our confidence. So one of the things I work on a lot in my 7-week class is helping women develop like these confidence mantras. where like before they walk into a room or before they turn on their Zoom, before they speak up, they recite like a mantra that helps them boost their confidence so that they feel the way they want to feel so they can make the impacts they want to make in the rooms. One of my favorite confidence mantras from one of my clients is hers is called enter the danger. Anytime she goes into a room, she says, enter the danger. And it just reminds her that she can like face her fears and it will work out anyhow. Mine is always, people might think this is smart. When I speak sometimes and I feel like I'm a little nervous, I always recite the mantra, I'm here with this message for these people for this right time. Yes, people think it's a good idea. Alora, I love this conference mantra. If I can make it happen, it will pave the way for others. Yes. Yes, that is like the mantra for all of this, right? With Breakthrough Week. If we can make it happen in this room with 200 of us, imagine the ripple effect we can make it happen with so many others. Like we talked about yesterday in asking for a raise. You don't just ask for yourself, you're asking for all the people who follow you or and around you. A good thought is the answer is yes. It's just a matter of how to get there. So your homework is, what is your high value thought? What is your confidence mantra? What is something that you can say that will get you in the feeling state? Work it backwards, which is why I have it like that. Is you think backwards, you just reverse engineer it. What's the results you want? What actions do you need to take? What's the energy that you need to bring into that? And what's a thought that's going to start that whole process? So let me know what questions you guys have. I'm going to draw the winner. Yay, Sarah, I'm glad you made it. So Monique, you approached your editor about utilizing Amazon Associates and affiliate links and stories as advertising. Awesome. Oh, you presented it yesterday. Let me know how that goes. Yay! So much goodness, so much goodness. I love it. So keep sharing all of your success stories. I just love hearing them. I'm getting emails from you. You're sending me messages. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, so the winner, and this is my favorite. So this person is going to get RBG swag. And so Alyssa, is it Mattis? You are going to get some RBG swag, and you have the choice. You can DM me. I will tag you. You're going to get Women Belong in All Places Where Decisions Are Being Made, and you can get the t-shirt or the coffee mug. So I will tag you, and then you just need to DM me on if you want the t-shirt or the coffee mug. So I hope you guys contribute your high-value thoughts, your mantras in the homework post, because tomorrow's prize is also going to be awesome. So let me know what other questions you guys have, Monique, so if they can increase ad revenue, ultimately I can be assigned to more stories and do more work I'm proud of. That is amazing. All right, everyone, go think your high quality thoughts. High quality thoughts lead to high quality results, and it helps us all create the ripple effect that I know that we are trying to make. So thank you so much for joining me. Join me tomorrow for Managing Up. It is going to be your final big challenge, and this one is going to be good, I promise you. So I will see you all tomorrow.